Welcome to the Born Unbreakable podcast. I'm your host, Coach Des, mindset motivator and lifestyle entrepreneur. From lost trauma, disappointments, and devastation to healing, hope, and betterment, what has grounded me is my unbreakable spirit. We all have that spirit within us. Every week, I'm here to inspire you with stories of perseverance and growth. My mission is to help you crush self-limiting beliefs and to be unapologetically you. You are your only limit, so take action today. Let your unbreakable ride begin now. This episode is brought to you by Blue Skies Life, a lifestyle brand with high-quality, ethical, and sustainable products. There are products for your mind, body, and home, everything from calming tea and luxurious shea butter to Turkish towels and silk kimonos. The holiday season is upon us, so start getting these one-of-a-kind gifts now. Go to blueskieslife.com, that's BLUSKYSLIFE.com, and use code BU20 to get 20% off your order today. Welcome to this special episode of the Born Unbreakable podcast. I say special because this episode is coming out to you on Christmas Day, which, regardless of what your practices or your beliefs are, hopefully around this time of the year, generally speaking, even if it's not Christmas that you're celebrating, hopefully it's the holidays, you're taking some time with the people that you love, the people that you care about. But most importantly, which is the reason I'm hoping you came to this podcast today, is you're listening for you. You're listening for you. And today is a special gift because we're talking about self-limiting beliefs and building your confidence, and think about how powerful that is going into 2022. That's such a beautiful thing. And there's no better person that we can do that with than my guest today, Lisa Montana, who is a mindset and confidence coach. And Lisa has gone through her own fair share of having insecurities growing up, being compared to other people growing up, telling herself things like, I'm not worthy, I'm not enough, and having to go on her own journey to working through that. And one of her breakthrough moments was traveling and being able to travel, see the world differently, get introduced to meditation, start doing her own healing, addressing her own self-limiting beliefs. And today she's helping other people to do the same thing. So Lisa, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for your lovely introduction. I'm so excited to be here today.
Yeah, but I really want to learn more about your story because I think that people can relate to that. The whole notion of comparison growing up and what that was like for you, what it felt like, and what you had to do to start working through those experiences of, unworthiness and feeling like not enough.
Yeah, that's a big topic. I don't even know where to start. I think when we grow up, or for me at least, it was just like some small little comments from my family members, from parents, from my aunt, and just some little comments like why are you not more like her, or why would you do this, and just like comparing myself constantly. And I was always the one losing in this comparison. And yeah, I just developed a very bad sense of self. And I always thought that I'm not good enough. I always thought that my cousin and my brother and everybody else is better than me, smarter than me, prettier than me, like everything. I just thought that, I just like, it felt like such a heavy cloud in my mind and on my heart. And I just thought like everybody else can be happy, but not me. And there's something wrong with me. And it was so deep ingrained in myself, and it was very hard to realize that it's just a thought, because when you're living this limiting belief, how we call it, it's very intense to understand that you can step out of that. And I was living it so much. Like for me, when I was 18, I had no idea what to do with my life, so I joined the army. Just like trying to fit in somewhere, but it's not my thing. I was just, I'm more of a creative person. Like now I'm a confidence coach, which is just like totally different. And there I was just trying to fit in, trying to find myself, but also being totally lost. Um, yeah, and then I started traveling, which you already mentioned. It's like amazing, and I can recommend traveling to everybody because you're constantly pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. Then my mother passed away and she had cancer, and she was sick for like most of my life that I can remember. And I just feel like it gave me a lot of responsibility, but also another challenge to work on and another healing journey I have to go on. And yeah, like it all started with realizing that I deserve to be happy, I can be happy, and I saw other people being happy and careless and free. And I just thought, why shouldn't I be like that? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And it breaks my heart because I think about how many young people today
Mhm.
are growing up being compared more than ever, because not only do you hear the comments that are in your household, but now you hear it from social media. Now you're doing it to yourself on top of other people doing it to you.
Mhm.
And it is more pervasive today. Whether you're young or an adult, there's many different ways that it's happening to us. And I love the fact that traveling was part of the awakening for you. I know New Zealand was
Mhm.
the place that one of the big first places that you traveled to. And I do think that's such an amazing way to gain perspective, is getting out of your comfort zone, getting out
Mhm.
of what you're used to, which I think can feel scary, but exciting
Mhm.
at the same time.
Mhm. Totally.
So talk about some of the practices and behaviors that changed for you. So I know that meditation is something that you got introduced to. How do you shift from, waking up thinking, I'm not worthy, to practicing things in your day that make you believe otherwise?
Mm. So for me, it all like came to the realization that it's all about my focus. And if you always focus on the things that aren't like right in your life, that you aren't doing right, that aren't good with you, you just focus more on that, and this grows. But if you focus on the good things, and that's what I started doing, yeah, it just grows as well. So what I recommend everybody to do, that's what I also started doing, and it's so simple, and it sounds too simple to be even such a game changer. But honestly, writing a gratitude journal is just changing everything, because you're not only writing down like the things you're grateful for, which are so many. If you're listening to this podcast, then you're fortunate enough to hopefully have a phone and internet connection, and we already have so much more than most of the other people. And we, yeah, should just be so grateful for that. And for me, journaling was a big one. I always like write down the things that I want to remind myself of, or an achievement journal is always amazing. What did I do good today? um, or if somebody gave me a compliment, writing that down, just creating a little booklet, or just a little list of things that you can refer to if you don't feel so good about yourself. So if you have a low day, if you compare yourself, if you don't feel as worthy, then just read it up again, and just like just influence yourself with the good things that you know that they are there. And just, yeah, like create more of the positive things in your life. But also realize that it's not always happy, it's not always positive, and you don't have to always think positive. So I think, accepting the highs and the lows, because when my mother passed away, you cannot always be happy, and you're going to break down, you're going to cry, you're going to have very low moments. But for me, what I did is something pretty radical, but yeah, that's just what would work for me. We had this one song that was playing my mom's funeral, and it's by Ed Sheeran, Supermarket Flowers. So sad and so beautiful. And so I was just sitting there on my desk. I was in Australia at the time, and I was putting on the song, and I was by myself. And every time, like I was putting on the song, I just wrote. I just wrote what came to my mind, how I felt about that day, all the pain that's coming up, and I was crying, crying, crying. I was always like throwing a tantrum every time I was listening to the song. But there was my own self healing journey that I've had to go through. So, like accepting that pain and fear, it's all part of life, and the more we can embrace it, the more we can hold it and just be less afraid of it and just let it be there. And it's just like a balance between, being able to hold the amazing good things, but also being able to hold the pain.
Lisa, you are speaking so much amazingness right now. So much, because I think often we want to acknowledge the positive, which
Mm,
there's so much value in, because it fuels us. It gives us energy. It shows us the possibilities for the
mm,
future. But being practical and recognizing that pain is inevitable, it's going to show up in different ways in our lives, is important too. And we can't skate past that. We can't just
mm,
skate past and think those feelings don't have a place also. This month in particular, it made me think about this because you spoke about your mom. Is my dad's birthday, and he passed away when I was young. So
mm,
I was only 9 years old when he passed away. But for some reason, because of that, it's a little bit of a trigger for me. So in this month, I'm a little bit more emotional. I think
mm,
about things like what would it have been like if he was here?
mm,
What would he be doing? What would he be thinking? What would he be feeling about what I'm doing in my life? So there's a lot of reflection, and I think there's a lot of healthiness in it, but there's sadness in it. I cry. I did the same thing. I listened to his favorite song. He loved The Temptations, so I would listen to the music that he loves. But it's kind of a little bit of a roller coaster of emotions,
mm,
and it's to me, like you're describing, it's not bad. It's just part of the process. It's a part of your growth. It's a part of your healing, and also your acceptance. And so, one of the things, speaking of acceptance, that I wanted to ask you about, because I've heard you talk about this, is the importance of accepting just the things that are in your life. Because if you don't, you have resistance towards them,
mm, mm,
right? Which is like this. I think a lot of it is, it's not us battling the world; it's us battling ourselves.
mm,
I mean, that's what as a coach too, that's what I tend to see. I mean, I catch myself in it all the time. I know you've gone through your own journey. So what is that process when you're working with your clients and they're working through self-limiting beliefs? How do you help people get to that point of accepting some of those maybe things that have happened that they feel resistant to in their lives, that aren't, maybe they feel guilt, or maybe they feel shame, or maybe they're the things that they're not proud of, but it is part of who they are. How
mm.
do people get to that place?
It's a very good question. I always try to, like just what I did for myself. I always try my clients just to see the big picture, the whole picture. And that's an exercise that I've done and that I always, let my clients do, and that I think is so amazing. It's basically a photo of a puzzle and lots of like different puzzle pieces. And basically it's a metaphor for I'm not sure if metaphor is the right word, but if the puzzle is like done, then this is your picture of your life. And every little piece of the puzzle is part of your life. And we need the dark colors, we need the light colors, we need it all, because otherwise it wouldn't be complete. So I'm always trying to, let my clients like remember and just remind my clients that everything is a part of the way. And if, for example, like my story again, if my mother wouldn't have passed away 3 years ago, or like almost four, then I would have never like became the person I am today. And for me, it's always about seeing, or trying to see, even if it's very hard, trying to see the blessing or the good thing in something that was very dramatic. Because for me, it gave me so much, sense of self, so much self responsibility. I don't know anybody in my life who's my age and who's that, responsible, because they had to. And now it's like my biggest blessing, and I'm so grateful for it. Obviously in that moment you feel like your whole life is crashing down and you don't know how to, keep moving. But I think if we look at the picture, if the bigger picture and the puzzle of our life, and if we remind ourselves that every single piece has brought us to where we are now, and recognizing that the bad things also brought good things, then, this just makes us stronger. Because a lot of people, and including myself in the past, we always love to play the blame game, and it's her fault that I'm this way today, and it's like this person's fault, and because she said that, I even done this with my family. And it just doesn't get you anywhere. It just gets you into the perspective of like, there's something wrong with me today because this person did something to me in the past. But instead of I am like this and like seeing yourself as empowered, and I can thank that person for criticizing me because now I'm so much more stronger and I'm so much more myself. Does that make sense?
Whoa, that is so powerful. And it reminds me, I'm listening to this book right now. Let me tell you what it is so
Mhm.
I don't get it, I don't mess it up. It's by Dan Sullivan with Dr. Benjamin Hardy, and it's called The Gap and the Gain.
Mm.
And it's the high achiever's guide to happiness, confidence, and success. Pretty cool. I'm in a mastermind, so we often find content that we can all immerse ourselves in and learn some things from. And one of the things in the book that they mentioned is, life is this thing that's happening for us,
Mhm.
not to us.
Mhm.
And it's exactly like what you were describing. If someone says something and it's not a compliment, if they're putting you down, or if something traumatic or dramatic, like you were saying, happens, seeing it for the blessing or the lesson, the learning experience versus the opposite, it changes your
Mhm.
energy
Mhm.
around it.
Mhm.
And that small shift, like you said, I think it takes practice though. I don't think it's just natural all the time. It almost feels unnatural because it's easier for us, I think, to gravitate to negative things
Mhm.
than it is to, shift into like a positive space. That's why it takes practice
Yeah.
is a big thing. So I appreciate you, acknowledging that, because that's an outlook I think takes some time, to develop.
Mm.
So I know that there's the folks that are listening now, and one of the things they might be asking themselves is about confidence. It's another thing that's this up and down thing,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Like there's times when you feel really confident, and there's times where you're just like, nope,
Yeah.
I can't. I I don't believe. I'm struggling. I've failed at this before. What makes me think that I'm going to try again and it's going to work? All the what ifs, all the fears, all the naysayers. What are some of the tips or tools that you can suggest for working on confidence?
Yeah, there are so many different ones. For me, confidence is always intertwined with our self-worth. So how do we value ourselves and what do you think about ourselves? And also like the self-esteem and also the self-love. So those three things just go for me together. And I think, we all like fluctuate in like how we feel about ourselves. Like some days as you said, we feel amazing, some days we just don't feel as amazing. And for me, doing the confidence work just raises the bar that even in low days, you just don't feel as low anymore. Um, yeah, so for me, it's always about reminding ourselves what we can already do, like reminding ourselves of our strength, of the things that we have achieved, like all those things, just building it up from the core. So even though you have a day where maybe your goal just like seems a bit more far away than other days, you can just fall back on the pillow of, oh, okay, but I know that I have achieved like this and that, and I know that I have already created so many good things. So it's like even on this one side you have like the self-doubt, the self like worth, the self-esteem is like pulling you back up because like, okay, even though this is a huge like goal, whatever I have already created all those results. So this isn't that far away, just like bring it all into perspective because I know how it feels sometimes and a goal can like really seem so far away. But it's about just going back to like I love having like a look in the past and see, okay, what have I already achieved? And it's always in hindsight when we create, when we see like, oh, like back then I thought this is a huge goal I would never be able to accomplish. And I had so many self-doubt about, being a confidence coach or whatever it is. And now I'm like, yeah, there was a huge achievement and I'm so proud of it. And then you just look at your next like stepping stone and your next milestone, I think. And you just, you know, you look at your past, see what you can gain from it, what you've already achieved, and that can like help you with going into the future.
That's so true. Because I think what happens is the goalpost keeps moving.
Mhm.
Meaning, once you've reached milestone A, you're now moving the goalpost to milestone B. So there's always something that you're driving towards, and in some ways putting pressure on ourselves for the next thing and the next thing and the next thing.
Yeah.
But you're right. We've already achieved so many things. And using that as our own measuring stick can be such a good reminder for that. If I could do that, I could do this too.
Mm,
This is possible. I think it's just approaching new territory is uncomfortable.
yes. Mm.
So, but I always have these conversations with people, and I like to say that discomfort is good.
Mm,
Comfort is good because it is a representation of growth. If you feel comfortable all the time, it would just get boring because you feel like you know everything, or you feel like you've learned everything. And I want to say that as human beings, we have, and that's what makes us such amazing creatures, is our capacity for growth is limitless.
mm,
We can learn something new every single day. And that's exciting because it gives us something to look forward to. It gives us different aspirations that we can look forward to. So I really love that you talk about the win list of the
yes.
things that,
Yeah.
you know, we've already accomplished. Um, one of the things, just in hearing about your story and everything that you've learned now, a question I have for you is, what is something that you would tell like your 18-year-old self? Like,
Mm.
looking back on what you were telling yourself then and knowing what you know now, what would you tell that younger version of you?
Um, I would tell her that she matters and that she can literally change the world and herself by believing in herself. And this is the biggest gift she could ever give herself. And that she's so much stronger than she thinks.
I think people needed that to hear that for themselves today.
Like, it's for
You know?
everybody. Everybody's so much stronger than they think because, like, we're all so amazing. And I think everybody should be reminded of that every single day.
Yeah, I think that's so good. Oh, that's so good. So, what about your coaching? Tell me more about what you do, and if there's any kind of programs or things like that that would be good for us to know about.
So I just started my creating this program, which is a 10 weeks program. And for me, you know, it would be amazing if we can just, you know, have like a quick fix, but I don't believe in quick fixes. And that's why I have like a 10 weeks program. It's a one-on-one program just with me and my client, where we go through all the different topics that I have found very helpful and just discovered, you know, that are very important for a long-lasting transformation. We're going into this like the negative self-beliefs. We're going into building up the self-worth. We're going to just, you know, like rewiring the brain to work for us instead of against us. There's so many amazing things and amazing tools that I have, and yeah, that I just love sharing with my clients. And it's basically 10 weeks to provide the transformation of, you know, if you felt insecure before, everything that I've like that we've explained about myself, like if you feel insecure, if you don't know where you're going, if you kind of feel stuck, this transformation, like this 10 weeks, can really help you bring you to where you want to be, and just giving you a sense of direction and confidence in knowing that everything is going to be fine and that you're very strong inside of yourself. So just building that up from the core is like, yeah, the goal of my program.
Oh, that is so good. And the fact that you said there's no quick fixes, that is just the truth.
Mm,
I know that a serum or a potion or a pill is something that at some point we might be thinking, oh, that'd be cool if that was out there, but it's just the work.
mm,
It is the work that you put in
true.
to yourself, and then you get what you put in. I mean, I
Yes.
think it really is that straightforward. And the fact that you make a commitment to that, because that's just a little bit over 2 months. And that's right, spot on, because I know that the latest research says if you want to really change your habits, it takes around 66 days, which
Mm,
is a little over 2 months.
mm,
And because it's the consistency.
yeah.
Like we could all today, for probably 3, maybe even 1 week, 3 days to a week, eat differently. If we all got on and said, yes, I need to stop eating too much sugar. Maybe I need to cut back on the caffeine. I probably should drink more water. Like if we did that, we probably could do that for a couple of days. But then try it for 30,
Mm,
try it for 60, and then see how difficult it is to actually change and rewire. I love that word that you used, to something totally different.
mm.
It takes time to make these kinds of transformational
Yeah.
changes, right?
It takes time, and I think it also takes accountability, because if we just, take our own accountability, then we may be breaking it. We may be, finding excuses, or because our brain is really much, working against us because it wants to keep us safe, and it wants to keep us where we are right now. But what I always love saying, our brain is designed to keep us safe, not to make us happy. So we have to like either push ourselves hard enough to get out of our comfort zone and do the work, or, take somebody like me, like, or have somebody by your side who guides you and just makes it a bit more gentle. You still have to do the work. There is no magic trick, but it's just a bit more structured and more guidance, I think.
Yeah. Oh, it's so easy for us to just not be accountable to ourselves
Yes.
because we're thinking, oh, nobody's going to know. Nobody's going to see that I ate, 4 bags of chips today and whatever else is going on, and just hang out and watch TV and
Yeah.
didn't do anything, but it changes everything when
Mm,
all of a sudden you're on the phone, or you're on a Zoom call, or
mm,
you're meeting with someone having to say, yes, this is what I did, or this is what
mm,
I didn't do.
And we
And that's
just
big.
learn. Yeah.
Yikes. Accountability. Oh boy. That's probably, a really good thing for us all to think about going into a new year, is what does that actually look like for
Mm,
us? If we had to ask ourselves, what am I doing to hold myself accountable to the goals that I have, the things that I want, and figuring out, who are those people that are not going to let us off the hook,
yeah.
that are going to push us, and help to support us with our dreams and our vision.
Mm,
And because this life goes by so fast, and we don't want to look back and feel like, we
mm.
didn't do everything that we wanted to do, right?
Yeah, that's so true. That's what I always, that's why I appreciate I'm not sure if I can say that, but that's why I appreciate, my experiences of, losing people, because it is really like life can go by so fast. And I think if you haven't lost somebody, if you haven't experienced that, you just think like, you just have this romantic idea that life goes on forever and ever and we're all going to be fine. And if we don't do it today, we can do it in 5 years, but maybe we can't do it in 5 years. Or, what always helps me when I think back, or when I think in the future, when I do a visualization about me being on my deathbed, and what would I really regret not doing, not having done. So for me, it was like it's a different like kind of example, but I'm now married, but I wasn't until like 3 months ago, and I'm like I would really regret not marrying this man, like really, really, like this is a man, and I'm like okay, so like what am I waiting for, kind of thing. And I think this gives us like the little jump if we're like yeah, you know I would really regret not hiring a coach, or not holding myself really accountable and pushing myself. And like yeah, like I think this is like the most amazing thing you can do. It's like asking yourself, would you really regret it when your life would be over now or in a week? And that could also help us give some motivation and just get it done and start getting started at least.
Oh, that is big, and I do think we wait for a lot of things
Hmm.
because it's waiting for perfection.
Yeah.
Waiting for this perfect time, this perfect moment,
Yeah.
which doesn't exist,
Mm-mm.
by the way. At least I don't believe it does. If you're listening to this podcast and you're thinking we're going to be talking about perfection, that's not here. I think that
Mhm.
life is this place where we, have to be practical about the fact that things happen and curveballs happen and plans get changed. I think that's one of the biggest things is, how they say, whatever it is, again, anybody who's listening, maybe you believe in different things, but we make plans and someone, whether it's God or the universe or whatever it is that you believe in, may laugh at those plans because life doesn't work in a perfect linear line like that,
Mhm. Mhm.
where it's just this step and then that step and then after that it's a zigzag, it's a swirl. it's
Roller coaster.
it's a roller coaster. Sometimes it feels discombobulated. And so I think that, you know, enjoying the ride is just a part of what we have to do, and there's just so many ups and downs in that. But there's something that you said that I want to come back to, because you use the word happiness.
Mhm.
And I think that's it's such this broad word, and we always hear people talking about it. I want to find happiness. I want to be more happy. I don't know if I'm as happy as it could be. Like, in your assessment and in your experience, what is your view of what finding happiness looks like?
So for me, I have figured out that if I ask myself, "Am I happy?" then I'm not. Because if I would be happy, I wouldn't be asking that myself. So for me, personally, we all have like different experience, different things that make us happy. But for me, when I'm free, when I'm traveling, when I'm with my loved ones, and when I'm just my purest, freest, joyous self, this is when I'm the most happy. And I know because I've experienced it when I was in New Zealand. Honestly, this was like the place where I was the most happy, because I just felt like an explosion of freedom, of like fun, of like adventure and joy. And um, on the other side, I was in a relationship before this one, and I was asking myself, is that already like everything? So is something more coming? Like, is this how it's supposed to be? Like, is this as good as it gets? And I was just like, so my feelings just were like so average, and I never like I never felt super excited and super happy. And now that I've just went through this whole roller coaster, I felt like very very sadness and like all those like more down feelings, but also like much more just expansiveness and excited and like all these things. So it just like comes together. And before that, I just felt like I haven't been very sad, but I also haven't been very happy. So for me, happiness is accepting that life is crazy and we never know what's going to happen, appreciating what we have, and just like living our truest self. And that's, I think, different for most of us. And yeah, just listen to your heart and go with what feels right to you.
Yeah. Living our true self. Amen to that. And you're so right. We're the best indicator and the best measuring stick for what that is. And it
Mm-hmm.
does look different. But if you are saying to yourself, is this the best that it gets? It's probably not the best that it is gonna get, or not at least what you want it to be.
Mm,
But we have to be honest with ourselves.
yeah.
We have to be honest with ourselves, whether it is the job you're doing, the career you've chosen, the people that you've chosen around you, the
Mhm.
partner, the significant other, all of that. There's those questions that we have, and you should. Life is a bunch of questions every day.
Mhm. Mhm.
Lots of questions and lots of gut checking, because that's how we're facing the reality that we're in, you know, and living into it as fully as we can be
Mhm.
is that transparency with ourselves. We can't run away from us. I think we try to, but we're always, we're like struggling because we're there. And until we face those questions and answer them, it's always going to feel probably like a struggle to
Mm.
truly be happy, because
Yeah.
you're not. quite to that full authentic self that you were talking about.
Mm.
Oh my
Totally.
gosh. Well, I definitely want to ask you a couple of questions that help people get to know you more because the
Mhm.
title of this podcast is Born Unbreakable. And my message is to be unapologetically you. So we all have those different parts of ourselves that make us who we are. So, my first question for you is, what are 3 words that best describe you?
Okay, so 3 words. Brave, straightforward, and honest.
Oh my gosh. Honesty. I wish everybody had that. Just
Well, yeah,
honesty.
it's
Honest
not always
conversation.
easy and not always the best, but yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's important to acknowledge that too, because sometimes we say things that people want to hear,
Mm,
or people say it to us,
mm.
what we want to hear versus what really should be said, because you're trying to create a soft landing or a little pillow that feels comfortable instead of just like, no, this probably is going to feel like you're falling flat on your face, but this is just honest right now,
Yeah.
you know?
It just doesn't help sometimes, and sometimes I see myself, being in situations where I'm like, I gotta break it to somebody, I gotta say something that's very uncomfortable, and, obviously, like, I'm very compassionate, but sometimes I just don't know what the best solution is, like, being honest or lying a bit, tweaking a bit so they don't feel as hurt. I don't really know, just try to find my way, trying to be as
Yeah.
honest as possible.
Yeah. And I think ultimately when the dust settles and the emotions are not so high, people appreciate honesty.
Mm,
Even if
takes time.
yeah, even at the time, if it hurts or if it feels
Mhm.
a little like it stings a little bit, it's you think back to those moments and go, "Oh man, I'm glad they told me that."
Mm,
I'm glad they were so honest with me.
yeah.
Um, okay, what is something about yourself that you're working on improving?
Still a few things. I would say consistency comes to my mind the most right now. Yeah,
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it?
yeah, we're always trying, and like as I said, the roller coaster. Sometimes it's better, sometimes not so good, but just showing up every day and trying the best.
Giving it your best shot,
Yeah.
right? Well, so we've talked about self-limiting beliefs, so I won't ask you about that, but I will ask you, what is something that you're looking forward to in 2022?
Oh, so much, so much. I try to keep it short. So we got married 3 months ago, but we're gonna have our big wedding next year. I bought my dress, like I'm vegan, so we're gonna have like a awesome vegan food, and like it's gonna be like a vintage wedding, in like a garden of my aunt, and like that's something I'm very looking forward to. We're gonna move in a bigger home. We're gonna get a kitty. I love cats so much. I'm obsessed with kitties. Yeah, just my business, like helping more people. There's so many amazing things I think is gonna happen, and I'm honestly so excited for the next year.
That is a lot of excitement.
Yeah,
Congratulations. That is big.
thank you.
Oh, so where is the wedding gonna be?
In Germany. Like I live in Germany. My husband is from Canada, so everybody's coming over to Germany. It's gonna be a little bit of planning and a lot of flights. But yeah, it's gonna be in Germany in a nice garden and just, some nature, some festival vibes. Yeah,
That is so much fun.
yeah.
That is gonna be so much fun, Lisa. Are you kidding me? Oh my
Um,
gosh, that's so exciting.
yeah.
Whew. I love it. I love it. I could just see it now. So you'll have to make sure, which I'm sure you will, is to just share some of the pictures, some of the
Yeah,
excitement,
of course.
because it's gonna go by with a flash.
Yes.
It's always
One
crazy
day.
how you build towards something and you build towards something and it
Mhm.
happens and you're like, what just happened?
Yeah.
So you have to embrace like every single moment
Yes. Very true.
leading up to that.
Mhm.
Oh, that's awesome. That is so stellar. Okay. What is one thing that you want to see changed in the world?
Only one thing.
I know, so many things, but
It's easy. I want people to raise their awareness for everything in general, for themselves, for the planet, for just the way we're treating each other, like just more awareness for everything would be my wish.
oh my gosh. I wish that every day. There's definitely like there are just these moments that I have and I wish that upon so many situations,
Mm,
you know? And I feel such a consciousness raised because of these amazing kinds of conversations that happen that just help you tap into that for you and to carry and hold space for people to find that
mm,
also
mm,
for themselves and what a difference it makes because I think when we become more self-aware we also become more open to listening and hearing different perspectives even while holding your own and just being able to be in a space where we can have these different viewpoints and still have respect and still have love and still have kindness
mm,
happens when you can raise your awareness level.
mhm. I agree totally, yeah.
That is really big. Whoa. Okay. What is one of the best pieces of advice that you've ever been given?
I would say it's that I'm not sure where it's from. It's like a very famous quote, but it's, the world isn't how let me think. The world isn't how we I'm gonna mess this up, but I'm just saying the world isn't how we think it is. The world is how we are. So that oh my gosh, so that our how we see ourselves and the filter that we wear, the glasses that we
Mhm.
wear, is how we perceive the world, but it's not how it actually is. It's just how we think it is.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but that's true. That's true. And I totally understand what you're saying.
Okay,
I do
great.
that all the time. I'm like, wait, what quote is it? Who said that?
Yeah.
It's something around
Saying the
this vibration. Um, but it's kind of like wearing glasses.
Mm,
Right? I have glasses because I need to see better. So, but we have them for different things, right? We have
yeah.
sunglasses, maybe we have like corrective glasses so that we could see what we're reading or, what we're doing better. Um, but there's all kinds of different lenses that we can see things through. And
Mm,
I bet if we took off our glasses and put on somebody else's, things would look different. It would look different.
totally.
And but it correlates with what you just said about self-awareness, right? There
Totally.
is such a significance in terms of what we see, what we perceive, how we're perceived, you
Mm,
know, what our
mm,
blind spots are because we have them. There's blind spots that we have, and that's the reason why it's so important how we choose what and who is around us
mm.
so we can work on those blind spots. But you're totally right. It's like,
Thanks.
yeah, we probably should rotate glasses
Yeah.
once in a
It's
while.
I think honestly just, like, having conversations and, as you said, like, trying to really listen and open our heart and just like think about the other perspectives because I know how hard it is to just, like, no, this is my perspective, it's the right perspective. And, I think that's why we have so much war and like drama and like fights happening because we think that our opinion is like the only valid opinion. But if we take that off and if we, if I listen to you, you listen to me, if we listen to like everybody else, then we will see that we have like shared perceptions, but all the things that we don't agree on, but everybody is still like equally worthy and like valid. So I think that really helps us, but it's challenging for sure.
Yeah, it really is.
Mm.
Oh, that's good. What else? What other advice or things might you want to share as it relates to self-limiting beliefs or confidence? Some of the
Mhm.
key things that you feel are helpful to folks.
Um, I think the most important thing is just to realize that not everything that you think is the truth, and that's that's like the biggest one when you realize that, thoughts are thoughts, and that doesn't mean that they're true. If they're like positive or negative, especially the negative ones, we, tend to stick to more. It just doesn't have to do anything with you. If you think that you're not worthy, if you think that, you always have to be like that, or you're just destined to be insecure, then I think those are just things that you like, you have picked up somewhere, or, people have told you, or you were just, watching too much TV or whatever, like something where you have picked it up from, and then you just thought it's yours. You just like, took it on as your thought. And I think realizing that, not everything is true, number one, very important. Learning how to differentiate your thoughts. So, like meditation is amazing, journaling is very amazing, just to see what's coming up and see what thoughts are true, which thoughts are not so true, which thoughts are empowering, which thoughts are putting you down. Because the thoughts that are putting you down are not coming from your true self, they're coming from something else. Just, maybe it's just a habit to repeat them over and over again in your mind. You can't even, fight against it, because your mind is just used to thinking that thought over and over again, and it just became part of your subconsciousness, even though it has nothing to do with you. It's not because you're unworthy, it's just because you thought it for so long. So that would be like another advice. And yeah, like honestly, like you can change your life, and you don't have to hire a coach. It's just like being like deciding that you want to change your life. And then you can go out there and do your own research and reading books and, podcasts. But if you have a coach, then it can help you. It can help you like just, move faster. But knowing that you can do it also by yourself, and just being determined, and, if you want to do
Yeah.
it, you can achieve it. That's it.
Yeah. There's tools for that, right?
Mm.
Sometimes accountability is exactly what somebody needs, and having somebody like a coach is a great way to get it. But we live in an information world. We're so fortunate.
Mm-hmm.
Podcasts are free. Uh, and we have access to so much great information
Mm.
in ways and at a speed that didn't exist before.
Yeah.
So we're very blessed
Yeah.
to be in a world where, despite something as what feels as limiting as a pandemic,
Mm.
we still can work at a speed and grow at a speed that, is pretty remarkable
Mm-hmm.
because of the things that are at our fingertips. Um, but of course, I have to ask you, how can people follow you? How can they get in touch with you?
So, my name everywhere is the same. My name is Lisa Montana, and on Instagram it's I am Lisa Montana. On Facebook it's Lisa Montana. I do have a Facebook group for women, who just want to build up their confidence, want to support each other, which is called Confidence and Joy. Yeah, so you can always follow me and find me, and I always love to connect with you all.
Oh, that's awesome. Yes, I will make sure that your information is in the show notes. I appreciate you holding this space. It's so important. I want all of us here to be vulnerable enough to and have that honesty. We were just talking about honesty with ourselves, to acknowledge those things that we want to work on,
Mm.
and but most of all is to celebrate what we've accomplished,
Yes,
and that we have the ability, we have the capacity, we have the fortitude to be able to do even more.
yes.
And I appreciate the work that you're doing, because it's so valuable. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having this amazing podcast, and, sharing people's stories. Like, it's amazing, and sharing your own. Thank you so much.
Yes. Well, I hope that you have a happy holidays, and
You
I'm so
too.
excited to see those pictures. Now, remind me, at what part of the year next year are you doing your wedding?
August.
Okay, so it's a summer
It's a summer.
wedding. All right. Okay. There's some time.
There's some
There's
time to
some time.
prepare.
Cool, cool, cool. So at least it's not like this, this crazy
No,
this crazy rush. So
no.
that's even better. For
Yeah.
some reason, I was having a little bit of anxiety, and I realized that
All
it's not
good,
even
all
something
good.
that's happening right now for me. But
Yeah.
as an empath, I just feel that
Yeah.
energy, and I feed off of it.
Yeah.
So okay, so next summer, and
Yes.
we'll be able to look forward to that. So I'm going to be excited to see that big stuff and the kitty.
Oh my god.
Now, is the kitty and the house happening before the wedding?
I hope so, yeah. I wanna move.
You're like, "I can't wait for that kitty
Yeah,
for months and
honestly,
months."
I'm just in love with kitties, and I think a kitty would, like, enhance my life by, like, 5 times.
Oh,
Just
wait,
having
do
a
you
little
have any now, though?
I have because, like, in this place we're living at the moment, they don't wanna have us, like, any pets. So we
Okay.
move into, like, a bigger place and, just have a kitty.
Oh my
Just be all happy
gosh.
and have a kitty.
Yeah. Do you know what you would name your kitty, or
We
is that
talked about it,
still
we're not quite sure. Something cute, but I will share everything on social media, but for right now,
okay?
we're just brainstorming.
Oh my gosh, okay. I love that. I just love ending on a high note,
Yeah,
because we all have those things that we're looking forward to, whether it's a kitty, a puppy,
yeah.
an actual live baby, something. Like there's always something fun that we're looking forward to that's, enhancing our lives, like you said.
Mm.
So yes, thank you again so much, Lisa, for coming on the
Thank
show.
you so much. It was amazing. It was a pleasure.
Happy holidays. What a delight to be able to celebrate these holidays with the gift of the knowledge that we got from this podcast episode with mindset and confidence coach Lisa Montana. So I mentioned in the episode that I'm listening to a book called The Gap in the Gain. Once again, it's by Dan Sullivan with Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And I wanted to play this little piece for you and shed some perspective on this so you can do this for yourself this holiday season as a gift to you heading into the new year. So let's have a listen.
And I say, now let's just do a progress report on things that were winning achievements for you during the last 90 days. Let's just say 90 days, personal or business. Let's take 3 and 3. Okay, and then here's what I want you to do. I want you to circle them and kind of grade them, which was number 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3 personal, 1, 2, and 3 business. And I said, I'm just going to have you look at it, and I'm just going to have you close your eyes and visualize how great that was to be there when you started. And I want you to visualize where you started and where you achieved it. And I take them through, not very long, maybe 5 minutes total. And at the end of it, I said, what's it feel like? I said, I'm really relaxed. I feel really relaxed. Feels really good, And I said, yeah. I said, my feeling is that your system is already pumping really great, endorphins, because that's what measuring backwards does. It pumps probably dopamine. And when you measure against an ideal, it probably pumps cortisol.
Okay, so hopefully you heard that okay. It's a little clip from the book, The Gap in the Gain, and it talks about how we often live in the gap. And this is where we get into the comparison game. This is where we can do negative self-talk. This is where we say, am I doing everything that I can to achieve this goal? Is this goal even good enough? It is the gap because we're striving towards a goal. And confidence can get thwarted. Our self-limiting beliefs creep in these moments. So if we do something like the exercise that is being talked about in the book, where we look at the last 90 days, write down 3 things that you've done successfully in your personal life, in your business or professional life. Do it in priority order. Think about how it felt to accomplish those things and use that as fuel to know that you are capable and you are confident enough to accomplish the next big feat, the next task, the next goal. Everything. If you haven't figured out by now, if listening to this podcast, whether this is your first episode or your 10th or your 20th or your 30th, is about mindset. And mindset takes practice. And it takes just what Lisa was talking about, that she's working on herself as a confidence coach, is consistency. We have to keep showing up for ourselves. Even if today we're at 70% and yesterday we were at 90%. It's not always going to look the same and it's not always going to be perfect. But that fact that we show up is what matters. It's how we create habits. It's how we get performance of an athlete, of an elite, of someone who is capable of doing the things that many other aren't because they're not conditioned for it. Remember that your mind is just as important to condition as your body. The same way you get up and go to the gym and do your workout is the same thing you have to give your mind. That is how we develop the mindset of a winner. So I hope today you've got some tools and some tips that will help you grow your confidence, smash those self-limiting beliefs, and know that you are worthy, you do matter, you are and will continue to do amazing things in this world. You're uniquely you. Be proud of that. Enjoy this holiday season with the people that you care about. I hope that you're doing something special today and for the rest of the year, giving yourself that time to reflect as you refuel and get that energy to start a phenomenal, mind-blowing, incredible 2022. Thank you for being here. If you haven't clicked the follow or subscribe button on the app, wherever you're listening to this podcast, please do so now. You'll be notified of all of the inspiring episodes that are to come, and you don't want to miss them. Make this a part of your routine because I want that for you. I want us to be in this together, growing and learning on this journey we call life. Oh, I'm just so excited. Okay, now with that, remember, you are your only limit. So take action today. Tune in again next time for another amazing episode of the Born Unbreakable podcast.